This will probably be the video of mine that you dislike the most. Hey, folks, this is Santino Pino here, back with another video and another Bureau of Prisons in the headlines. This one's an important one. They all are, but this one's very important. The BOP will close facilities housing thousands of inmates. The agency pointed to crumbling infrastructure, chronic staffing shortages, and budget shortfalls as it moved to cut costs. Okay, and so there's Big Spring. The BOP said on Wednesday that it would close at least six facilities that house thousands of inmates, citing extreme staffing challenges. And then you know what? I'm not going to keep teasing it. I'm going to talk about why you might not like this video today. Okay, so the two conversations that happen the most in regards to the Bureau of Prisons internally and externally are these two. Externally, the biggest thing really is like First Step Act and good time and releases and stuff like that. Everything related to the First Step Act. Internally, it's always about staffing. Okay, and I'm going to give a shout out to a recent friend of mine. We were having a discussion recently, and she said to me, uh, every now and then you just have to make the selfish decision. Okay. Every now and then the right decision is the selfish decision. Okay. I fully believe that the Bureau of Prisons leadership has done everything they can for full staffing. Okay. They're trying everything within their power, within their budget to do so. Um, the challenge I want to send to my BOP family, okay? Because you got to remember, I'm a former BOP staff member, okay? Uh, how have you tried to help? How have you tried to help staffing? Okay? There's dozens of officers there today that I referred, okay? Or maybe got referred by someone that I referred, okay? I always looked at the Bureau of Prisons as a great career, so I would tell people to apply there. I would tell people to come work here if you're looking for a job. Have you done that? Have you told anyone to apply for the Bureau of Prisons? Okay. If you have, great. Then maybe listen to what I'm saying right now and you can talk to other people about it. If you haven't, then you need to pay attention. Okay. You cannot complain about staffing issues in the Bureau of Prisons unless you're trying to help, right? Unless you're trying. That one referral, one person that's looking for a job with a clean background and have them work for the Bureau of Prisons. Okay. I would every time. Luckily, most people in the Bureau of Prisons come in with some type of government or correctional experience. I was the one that came in with correctional experience. I came from the state of Arizona. And so when we got the opportunity, when I heard the state of Arizona was doing something called riffing, which is reduction in force, and it was unfortunate how a lot of that happened. It's funny how that happened with the state of Arizona when they did a reduction in force. Geez, I can't even remember what year it was. Uh, 2009, 2010. Maybe I'd have to go back and look. I do these live. So when they did the reduction in force, they did it in two stages. Number one, they demoted everybody that had taken a new job within like the past 6 months. And then a few months later, they terminated everybody that had been in their position for less than a year. So it was like everybody that had been recently promoted got demoted and then terminated. And it was done very dirty. Okay. That was a very dirty reduction in force. So the Bureau of Prisons solution is, well, if we've got all these other facilities, like we just got a huge influx of staff by shutting down, where was it? Dublin. Okay, they just shut down Dublin, so they get this huge influx of staff, right? But now, think about all these facilities, the regions that they're in. They're kind of spread out. They're in California. They're in Kentucky. They're in there's Big Spring, Texas. Also, Beaumont is in Texas, I believe. Latuna. So there's a lot of facilities there near other facilities, so that those ones that are suffering from short staffing now will get a huge influx of staff. Yeah, an influx of inmates, but that's what the Bureau of Prisons does. It just moves inmates around. I've never been at a facility that was full, right? There's always been at least one pod or one unit that was empty that was being used for training or whatever. And it's just kind of unnecessary because it sits there 99% of the time completely empty with just bugs in it, right? Um, and so being able to take all those inmates out of facilities that might be struggling with staffing and moving those inmates to facilities that are better staffing, but also giving moves to these. Like this is an opportunity for a lot of staff members. Your facility is shutting down. You have the opportunity to find a job where you want to move to. Okay. Does it kind of stink that you're moving? Your job is shutting down a location and moving? Yeah, but I'm just going to be real. We knew that from the beginning of the Bureau of Prisons, and I was an activation guy. I was bouncing around the bureau, going to different facilities that were activating, and uh, you know, we're told. I mean, yeah, it's a new facility, but if we can't get staff, it's going to shut down. So you'd have to move again. You're going to have to find another facility to go to. Unless you find one, they'll find you one, right? Uh, but extreme staffing challenges, that selfish decision that the Bureau of Prisons made, and it was the right decision, was we've tried to do staffing, we're losing. So what we're going to do very simply is we're just going to shut down some facilities, and we're going to take the staff members that we have and put them into facilities and help the staffing cause and just condense it all. And a lot of staff members are going to be upset about it, but that's just what happens. That's what happens when you work for the Bureau of Prisons, is that they shut down facilities, they shut down departments. I mean, look what they did with Unicor. All right, Unicor went through a bunch of revamping. A lot of people lost their jobs or had to find new ones. Some people just chose to retire. That's just part of working for the Bureau of Prisons, is that sometimes moves are going to be necessary. And I moved for the Bureau twice on my own dollar because I wanted to work certain places. And if you're willing to pay your own move, you can get jobs pretty easy, right? So it's just something that I worked into my budget. So here's what I'm telling you. This is a good thing. This is going to alleviate so many of the staffing problems at so many facilities. Just listen, I mean, most of the staff problems at the facilities could be solved with 5 new staff members. 5. Okay. And the Bureau of Prisons is going to get that. And then when you have more people at facilities, that opens up jobs at other facilities, and you get this big rush of promotions, big rush of now, instead of critical hiring, now you just have some, you can focus on good hiring, is such a good thing that they're doing. And I can't sell that enough. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. The closure plan, the most expansive effort to shut down or consolidate federal prisons in response to staff shortages, comes less than a year after the Bureau run an infusion of $5 billion in funding from Trump's signature domestic policy bill. The units are minimum and low security facilities and satellite complexes, which these are in the news because the media just hates the idea of camps, but also if they love the idea of camps when one of the inmates that they're trying to be a hero is out there too. So it's just kind of like they take up the narrative that it makes their cause or their message look good. Meaning the typically house inmates considered lower risk. They include prisons in Beaumont, Big Spring, Latuna facilities in Kentucky, Virginia, Taft. The highest population facility in Beaumont houses 1,651 inmates in a low security prison and 514 in just a minimum security camp. And the other thing is that prisons are just bigger now. Okay, they just have bigger, like 5,000 bed is what they're trying for in newer prisons, and there's plenty of bigger prisons. And so I'm in business. I deal with money, and there's something called the variable pricing model, right? And so a lot of people might think like, okay, if if a pack of soda is $6, okay, why is each individual soda $2? Okay, well it's about the smaller, and I'm not going to get into a lot of details here. There's plenty of videos on it, but the smaller quantity you buy, the more expensive it is, the more pricey it is to a business or any type of authority, or in this case, the Bureau of Prisons. So those smaller facilities with a smaller base count, okay, those facilities probably cost just as much money to run as a larger facility, okay? Because they're compartmentalized, which means they need higher infrastructure. They can't get the same deals on deliveries and food and stuff that you can at a 5,000 bed facility. So it's not just like, okay, we have less inmates, so it's a less of a budget. No, it's you're buying things in smaller quantities, so it's going to cost more. And so those facilities cost a lot of money to run, especially low security facilities that now the Bureau of Prisons has a standard model for its medium and high security institutions. And so you have all these facilities out there that just don't meet that model. So the people that have been trained there or work there, they just don't know how to work at any other facility because it's just those facilities were curated and created with time instead of master planned. This is nothing but a good thing. The uncomfortable fact is that people are going to have to move. Some people that refuse to move will end up having to lose their job. Okay, it stinks, or get another job within the feds. But this is good for everyone else. It might not be good for some individuals, but this is good for the Bureau as a whole. The Bureau of Prisons added that an unspecified number of staff members at Big Spring and La Tuna would be laid off, while other staff members would be transferred to nearby facilities. An official at the Council of Prison Locals who spoke on the condition of anonymity of fear of retaliation said that the union, which has long opposed efforts to close federal prisons and cut jobs, had not been made aware of the plan to close facilities until the Bureau made its announcement on Wednesday. And they're also forgetting the fact that the collective bargaining agreement that the Bureau of Prisons had with these unions is gone. Okay. So they don't have to tell them anything. They're no longer an authority figure within the Bureau of Prisons. Not going to express an opinion on that here. You guys will probably do that in the comments. But again, collective bargaining goes, and so now you don't have a union that says, hey, we're going to defend these guys, these people. We need to, if there's only 5 people that work here, we need to hold on to their jobs. And I get what their job was. I get what the union was doing, but that holding on to these facilities is one of the causes, not the only cause, but one of the causes of the staffing crisis that the Bureau of Prisons has. So the Bureau did not answer any questions about where inmates would be moved once the facility closed, but in announcing the closures, the Bureau added that it would upgrade minimum security camps in Morgantown and Duluth with the facility. That's a horrible post. That is just such a cold post, man. If you live up there, you could work there. I'm from Arizona. I'm never going to work in Minnesota. The facilities, which currently house 400 inmates, are expected to train. Say again, 400 inmates. You've got facilities out there that can bed 5,000 inmates. Okay. And these 400 bed facilities cost just as much to run. So they're expected to transition from minimum security camps for inmates deemed to be the least risky to low security prisons, allowing them to house inmates considered to be more risky, which makes more sense. I mean, just because you might be a low security inmate doesn't mean that you're going to be in a low security facility like a camp. Okay, you could be put into a medium security facility with a fence around it. It just depends on where the Bureau can house you wherever they need to once you're an inmate. Okay, just to let you know, they can house you wherever you need to. They're not going to put you in any undue risk. Obviously, they're not going to purposely put a high security, dangerous inmate onto a low security drop down yard with a bunch of people that can't even walk on other yards, because that guy will just be like Thrag and Invincible and start thrashing people, right? That's not a good thing. So they do as much as they can. They don't always get it right. It's impossible to get it right. I don't foresee a solution to that. There'll always be people that get through the cracks, but for the most part, they're really good at making sure that separatees and other people that shouldn't be on the yards together are pretty good. The Biden administration signaled in 2024 that would make similar moves to cut costs and address crumbling facilities, saying that would shut down the Morgantown and Duluth camps. At the time, the Bureau of Prisons said that the Duluth facility had aging and dilapidated infrastructure, including several condemned buildings that had contaminants such as asbestos and lead paint. Like, there's no argument to hold on to these. And this is where I again, the video you're going to dislike me most. The union, when they had the collective bargaining agreement, making the Bureau of Prisons hold on to a facility like that with condemned buildings, like, that's ridiculous. Like, that, if anything, you should have been saying, hey, let's shut it down, or can we bulldoze it and build a new facility, right? But trying to hold on to this facility with such a low base count and just as many staff members, and it costs as much just money to run. Like, listen, folks, I can't tell you this enough, okay? No decision in the Bureau of Prison is based on how its staff feel. Let me repeat myself. No decision in the Bureau of Prisons is made based on how staff feel. Okay. I own a business. I do not make decisions on how my employees feel, my team feels, my clients feel. Okay. I make financial decisions. So does the Bureau of Prisons. This is a financial decision. And the best financial decision would be to condense all these dilapidated facilities, get these inmates out, get them to better quality facilities, right? And move them over there. Now, unfortunately, during the Biden administration, just nothing moved. The only thing that moved during the Biden administration and the Bureau of Prisons was the directors. They went through like 7 of them, right? Or I could be wrong on that number, but I went through a lot of them. It was like, just keep their name on a dry erase board. And so you need to leave a director in place long enough to start your vision, right? To go enact your vision. And just there was no director there long enough, and then they were getting caught in the weeds with random policies and stuff like that. But I think the leadership at the Bureau of Prisons now has given it a chance, a breathing room, right? The planned closures come as the Bureau struggles with a years-long staffing crisis and derelict conditions across its prisons. Many of roughly 35,000 Bureau employees often earn less than the state and county corrections workers. Uh, no, not often. I mean, that word, I don't know why they threw in word. Some might be, right? You're going to have some facilities that pay, some agencies that just pay corrections officers more. I've talked about this in previous videos. That's a good thing. That should be transitory. Sometimes the Bureau of Prisons should be number one. Sometimes the state facility should be number one. That is good in regards to wage models. When wages are constantly kind of flowing like this, it allows staff members and cross experience just by managing salaries like that. It's brilliant how it's done. Uh, they're gaslighting it here, but for several years the Bureau of Prisons was number one, and right now they're not, and they will be again. That's the only way. If you always have somebody that's only number one, you're going to have trouble staffing any other correctional facility. So they all take steps up at different times. In recent years, shortages of corrections officers have, and by the way, listen, it is both correct. Corrections officers and correctional officers, they're both correct. You'll hear me say both often. I also say prison guard because I'm not offended by that. I'm big on history. Uh, Corrections officers were called prison guards and guards first. Okay, so none of those offend me. Okay, I'm not obsessed with the guard or the officer terminology or anything like that. As long as somebody is talking about a corrections officer in reference or a prison guard in reverence, I don't care what terminology they use. Titles are not disrespectful. Okay. Uh, Billy Marshall, the director of the Bureau of Prisons, said in a statement on Wednesday that the infusion of $5 billion from President Trump's signature domestic policy bill last year would help some of the problems, but he added that it was not sufficient to fully resolve operational and infrastructure challenges that have accumulated over decades. The Bureau of Prisons also acknowledged those shortcomings, noting in a statement that it was currently confronting a deferred maintenance backlog exceeding $4 billion. And yeah, so there you go. You get $5 billion, you've got a maintenance backlog of $4 billion. Do you want to fix the facilities, or do you just want to spend a little bit of money, of that money, move everybody in there out to other facilities, and then use the rest of the money to update the current good facilities, bulldoze everything else, right? And they don't even really have to bulldoze it. They could do something with another department in the federal government where, hey, bulldoze this, do this. We'll give you the land. They may hold on to the land, they may not. Okay. The Taft prison had already been emptied of inmates in the first Trump administration after it was deemed in critical disrepair. The Bureau estimated at the time that it would cost nearly $200 million to repair. And there's probably still staff members working there during a staffing crisis with no inmates. That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. There's no reason with the exception of regional and central offices, there's no reason to have staff members not at a facility. And I'm saying this including uh, uh, ones that are traditionally not there, people that might work in parole or whatever, right? And I know I've got some friends that are parole officers, right? But I mean, you can work remotely, or you can have an office at the prison since there's already a facility there. Like I just there's not reason. Not everybody's special, right? You can office with other people. It's okay, right? Especially during times when you need to tighten your belt a little bit. Okay. Amid a wider effort by the Trump administration to assert more control over the federal workforce, Director Marshall moved to end union protections for the Bureau workers last year, canceling its collective bargaining agreement with all the unions, not just that one. Okay. The union official noted that without this contract, prison workers laid off by the prison closures would be only given 60 days notice. You're given 60 days to terminate. Like they don't have to, but they will. The union contract had previously mandated a notification window of 9 months. That's impossible to do. Okay, that's why these facilities are stuck open. You don't know the facility decisions you're going to make. So a lot of these times are short-term decisions. So the collective bargaining agreement going away is a very good thing as well. Chris Cameron is a this is they're talking about the author. So uh, like I said, this is a good thing, folks. This is a very, very good thing. This article's from the New York Times. I just picked this one. There's plenty of articles breaking it down. There's some that have different facts, some that have incorrect facts. There might even be one or two incorrect facts in this one. It's just that the Bureau condensing and shutting down some facilities, that's a good thing. It really is. Okay, two things before I go. Number one, but of course, Bill, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. That helps me. Okay. First, if you have any TSP questions, call me. My number will flash on the screen at the end of the video. At least it should. Sometimes it doesn't, but it should. Okay. Um, so and first, like I said, like and subscribe. It really, really helps me out. Really trying to get the word out. Share this video with somebody. It's super helpful. Thank you for watching this one. A whole bunch of headlines hit the. I'm not going to cover every single one of the BOP closing facilities headlines. Okay. I'll just cover this one, and if there's any more updates, I'll cover them with a different article. But a whole bunch of Bureau of Prisons headlines hit the news at the same time, so I'm going through them. But this was definitely the most important one. So I hope you got some out of this one, and I will see you next time the Bureau of Prisons is in the headlines. Have a great day.